Well, everyone wants to feel better. Like, find me a human who
Exactly.
doesn't want to feel better. Everyone wants to feel
Yeah.
better. And everyone has always wanted to feel better. As long as you're in this carnation as a human, you want to feel better. That's the goal in life. What's happening is people are realizing that what they are, like, what they require in order to feel better is actually already inside of them.
Exactly.
And it's not
Hmm.
about, I have to go out and I have to get the right job, the right husband, the right career, like the right
Hmm.
amount of money, the right car, and the right six pack abs, and then I will feel better.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
call that in first, you make a decision that you're worthy of feeling great,
Hmm.
and then you see oh, okay, well, I notice I prefer to
Hmm.
move my body in this way, and I prefer to eat in this way, and I prefer to look like that. Everything is after the fact. And it's
Yes.
also too just that deeper level of like, well, what is fitness really? It's not
Hmm.
about like losing weight and having six pack abs or going to the soul cycle class and eating the kale salad just so that you said that you did something good for yourself, when really
Yeah.
inside you're like, I'm miserable. I actually hate riding the bike and I hate kale. Later was, let's
I
rock and
know.
roll.
I'm really excited to have you here. This is your take, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about what you do. Um, but having you here is just, it's very complimentary to the way that I work with my clients, but it's a whole different approach, and it comes from a different direction, right? And so I'm fascinated to hear what you have to say. And we both have used the phrase fighting our physiology, and it means something a little different to each of us. But I have a whole course section called Fighting Your Physiology. And I loved hearing you just say that. So let's just turn it over to you and learn a little bit more about the differences in how we can see this holistic health.
Yeah, well, I think it speaks directly to what you and I were just having this intimate conversation on, and it's really
Yeah.
understanding that if you're if you're feeling this pull toward a deeper and more meaningful experience of being human, then
Hmm.
that's what fitness really looks like. And we've been kind of raised generationally in a system of kind of intellectualizing fitness, as in
Hmm.
it's a box we tick, and we're good
Hmm.
girls if we do it. Like, did I get my workout? Tick. Now I'm good. Did I do my work? I didn't. Now I'm bad. Now I got to make up for it. Same with nutrition. And it's like, if I eat these healthy things that the TV and my neighbor said were healthy, and it's how they lose weight, then if I do that, then I'll lose weight, or if I do that, then I'm healthy. And it's putting all of this, it's literally taking yourself out at the knees. It's taking yourself out of the equation. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a physiologist. I've had a practice for over 20 years, and I pivoted so much over the years because when I was in pre-med. I was geared up, ready to go to medical school, and I had this kind of like, literally, like, talk about milestone experiences, like, just call it, my come to Jesus moment, my spiritually, brought me to my knees moment, whatever, was literally, staring at an open heart surgery as part of, so when I went on to get my master's in physiology, I was going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. And I literally was watching this take place 6, 7 hours. And I'm like, there's just got to be a better way to help somebody heal their heart than like cracking their chest open after the fact, when they're already kind of at that point of like facing, a lot of cellular damage and just a lot of disease and dysrhythmia. So it took me on another path, and I went into fitness. And again, at that time, it was really about, preventative, right? And so over the years, I've kind of gone through my own personal experiences with that. And for me, looking at preventative medicine is kind of like, and if I curse, I'm going to apologize ahead of time, but sometimes things fall out of me. I hope that's okay. But like kind of a BS story that we tell ourselves about preventative medicine, because what we're doing is we're actually saying, I know that I have a family history of heart disease, so I'm gonna have heart disease, or I'm gonna have cancer. I know I'm gonna have these things, so I have to do all these things to prevent that. So it's totally fear-based. And what does that do to your physiology? It completely jacks up your physiology because you are literally putting yourself in a state of fight or flight all the time. So you're literally operating from this sympathetic nervous system state, which is very unnatural. It's very dysrhythmic. And so basically it creates this incredibly volatile internal environment in your system where your heart rate is always up, your blood pressure is always up, you're always dropping fatty acids into your bloodstream, your vessels are constricted, your muscles are tense, your eyes are dilated, your breath rate is up, shallow, and all of that because your body is like, I'm in danger. I have to either, I'm perceiving danger. I either have to fight or I have to run away. Either way, it's going to require some sort of work. So I got to get the body ready for that. But there's no physical outlet. So we're just moving about the planet in this constant state of stress. And part of that stress is coming from believing that we have to do this preventative. And then so what do? What does that look like? And now, oh my gosh, because I'm so afraid I'm going to get heart disease. So I better eat the kale salad every day. And inside it's like, I hate kale. That I'm going to eat it because it's what I have to do. And I have to eat it before 5 p.m. because I can't eat after 5 because if I eat after 5, so it's like giving up your inner caliber as a gorgeous, glorious, perfect, amazing human with superpowers. The fundamental understanding that we had of fitness isn't like it's transformed. There's got to be something more to this than me following some plan outside of myself in order to feel better. And that's the work I really love to do. And as a physiologist, it's not ever any kind of surface level mindset kind of like, okay, yeah, say these affirmations and then you'll be okay. It's really, there's a lot of embodiment that takes place. So when you can get into the physiology, I always say we're performing psychic surgery because we're literally through, and that's how I prescribe exercise. It's really like utilizing the movements and the mechanics of the body and the way that our entire system, so when I say entire system, you have your physical anatomy and then you have your energetic anatomy. And the practice of physiology really allows us, as practitioners to incorporate all 10 bodies. So when I say you've got this holy human existence, we are so powerful. And we've just kind of forgotten how to utilize and wield the energy of all of these 10 bodies.
Yeah.
And it's coming into command with that. And when you have that kind of inner authority, it creates a really deeply vital human experience. You got big things to do on the planet. You got a big vision. And how it was working out for you, it really wasn't, because it was like, I'm going to burn myself out trying to do all these things.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting we're having this conversation because now we have this golden opportunity that we've been gifted, that I believe the collective called in at the perfect time for us. And this is an opportunity for us to say, do we want to contribute to the evolution of the human species going forward, or do we want to participate in its extinction? And that's how big this is. And that can take my breath out of me. That makes me super emotional because yeah, let's evolve. Let's absorb this. Let's take this in. And how can we indoctrinate like new belief systems? Well, it's got to start inside the physiology first. The body will always know, and then the mind will be able to follow. And so that's the training. And so what I'd love to, just jam out on a bit, for whatever time we have left is, where does this get to start as we are nurturing and literally activating pieces of our cellular structures that were always there. I just said to a client the other day, I'm like, you are activating the ancient wisdom that's been locked inside your cells, 60 trillion cells, and you have this ancient wisdom that's been encoded in you, this DNA that's now being activated. And so this time is a great opportunity to really be with all of that and be with all that comes up with it, all the fears and all the things start to kind of go sideways, and you start to kind of get like, it's like altitude sickness. We're choosing into this ascension, and we're feeling this exaltation happening, and you climb up and you can easily get altitude sickness. So you turn on the media, it's like, everyone's dying, everyone's broke, and it's like, of course, there's going to be that polarity, because that's how we live as humans. It's like the more that we're expanding is the more the resistance is going to be there to be. And the more that we're aware of it and see it, the more that we can choose to, again, take that energy and say, okay, this is how it's going to benefit us inside our bodies, so that we can execute, that we can make really great decisions that are going to be in alignment with our highest destiny, rather than pulling us back into fate.
It's fascinating, again, at this time, how we can kind of make that choice right now. It's kind of right in front of us, so we can choose, the blue pill or the red pill.
Exactly.
And go with it. We're given that choice right now. So I'm really excited for you to explain to us this whole concept of living your life 2 hours at a time, being excellent 2 hours at a time. So how do you begin kind of making that shift from this 9 to 5 go must advance, into sort of that more, however you talk about that?
Yeah, so one of the ways that I found, hey there. Oh, I love that you're joining us, Superman. See, we are totally superhuman. Superhuman.
You have superpowers?
Supernatural, meaning we are so naturally super. One of the tools that I utilize with my clients that I've really been having so much fun with, especially again in this beautiful golden time that we have been given, is what I call the 2-hour pulse. And it is really coming back. And so this is a great tool. There are many tools. So this is a great way to start taking command of your human, like this magnificent human organism that you got the coveted life force. So what are you going to do with it, right? And so you want to take more command of it. This is a great tool that you can drop in and start to utilize. So our physiology is an ebb and a flow. And I think you don't need any type of formal science degree to know that. We all innately understand that we are ever-changing organisms. That's life. Every minute that ticks on a clock, you turn over a few thousand cells. So you are never the same person moment to moment. It's fascinating when you start to even that alone, if there's one takeaway, there was one takeaway I'd say would start to change your entire life, your entire existence inside your body. So change within, change without, is coming into a place of, I say it's a sigh. All it takes is one sigh. A sigh is a beautiful physiological experience. And a sigh is autonomic a lot of times. We just do it. We don't realize that we're doing it. So I would even offer just right now in this moment to sigh. And you can actually feel. And the more that you become aware of what just happened inside my body when I did that, your chest opened up really wide and you took in a really, really deep breath. And you were also allowing yourself to let out a noise with that breath. Very sensual. We're creating this pause, delightful pause that allows us really to shift into a very biochemical state. Okay, am I in rhythm or am I out of rhythm? And that's really what a sigh is. That's what a yawn is. It's like, oh, the physiology is, it's out of it. And you just, but we're taught that we just do that and then go right back to what we were because we're in this sympathetic drive experience. So, not to get into all that. So basically, every 2 to 2.5 hours, depending, but roughly 2 to 2.5 hours, your body shifts the dominance of brain activity. Now, again, we shift every moment. Our endocrine, everything changes every minute. The reason why I like to create a schedule around your brain hemisphere activity is because it is a nice pulse. It is a nice pulse. 2.5 hours. You can really get a lot of fun stuff done in 2 to 2.5 hours, and you can really create a really very like delicious experience of life if you're in tune with it. And the other significant piece here is it also allows you to be really productive. And the more productive we feel, the more meaningful, the more bountiful life becomes. That's prosperity. Prosperity isn't, do I have the mansion and $1 million in the bank account? That's nice. That could be part of it, but prosperity is an inside job. Prosperity is something you actually cultivate in your cells, in your body. The ability for your cells to be prosperous means they're open and able to receive light and information and be able to, again, use that information to create whatever it is that your soul's calling you forth to create. But if your cells are in a state of contraction, which is fight or flight, oh my God, everyone's out to get me, you're contracted, you're constricted, you're in this state and you're literally creating more damage every minute. Cells are dying and they're not regenerating. You're not taking in enough light or nourishment. So even when you eat the kale salad, your body's actually not absorbing the nutrients of that kale salad because your cells are not open to receiving those nutrients. And I can get into a whole thing on that. So anyway, the point is we have the right hemisphere of the brain, the left hemisphere of the brain. And, we've all kind of, we get this. We don't need a science degree to understand this. Like, oh, you're more right brained or you're more left brain. Left brain, you're more analytical. And, your right brain, you're kind of woo. But we're both. And what makes us dominant in one versus another, there's a lot that goes into that. However, we get to tap into the energy of both if we can command it. So if we kind of have a sense, if we just spend a day paying attention to our moods throughout the day and we start to feel like, oh, it's interesting how I tend to be a little bit more creative in the morning. And perhaps that's a time where you are a little bit more right brain dominant. Then you notice after a while you shift and it's like, oh, I'm not. And maybe you're seeing, wow, I just kind of stay in this left brain and it doesn't feel good and I'm drained by 4 o'clock. So what's happening there? You're having kind of an override. So being able to see that every couple of hours you're actually having a shift, and that shift happens in again, this is all in relation to where the earth is as it goes through the day. You wake up in the morning, there's a reason for that. The sun is coming out. All of these things relate to our physiology. So when the sun is out, our cells open up to receive more light. Our pineal gland that's its job is to actually take in light and then produce either melatonin because it's not so light out anymore, which is getting us ready for sleep, or suppress the secretion of melatonin and allow for there to be a cortisol surge in the morning because time to get stuff done, but to also be creative. So you got dopamine, you got cortisol, you got some stuff going on, right? So in the morning, what is it that we're doing? We're rushing around, we're being all types of left brain, but perhaps the morning time could be a space of creativity for you and really allow yourself to feed into that energy, which is natural. So that's the idea of a 2-hour pulse. And everybody's going to nuance this a little bit differently. The point is, are you taking it to your benefit? So what I'd offer is a couple of tools because I again, I could go hours on this. It's so much fun to talk about. What I'd love to offer is actually an assignment, and I'm happy to share with your your community, Shannon, I have like a training video and a PDF with like an assignment. And I use this actually for my high level private deep dive one-on-one clients, and I would love to offer this as a gift to your community because I do truly believe that the value in this is absolutely amazing, and I know they'll get so much out of it. But I just want to share,
Yeah, that's awesome.
basically, yeah, no, it would be my pleasure. How this kind of you can start to practice this 2-hour pulse in a very pragmatic way. And so looking at your day, you want to start to evaluate like what, I call it like an energy balance sheet. And I have my clients do this. And for some of them, they do it every single day. They run this energy balance sheet every night. I love to do it too, because at the end of the day, it's like energy is currency, just like money. It's all energy. So at the end of the day, are you going to bed in the black? Or are you totally depleted? Are you in the red? And it's just for you to evaluate. We should, like, no, we're not going to be, like, we're human. So we get to have this experience. Like, there are going to be things that we do that deplete us. And the question is, are we just doing too many things that deplete us versus the things that nourish us and replenish us and fuel us and make us, light up, right? And it's, are you going to bed in the black? Because you're going to have some red, and that's cool. But the black should always be more than the red. The pluses should always be more than the minuses, because that's a meaningful, bountiful, that's prosperity. That is profitable, right? I got that from my spiritual teacher. I love that, right? So start to identify, and you can do this in any way that feels good to you, but start to identify times during the day, like 5 or 6 times during the day where you notice, wow, like I really shut down. Like my energy really feels like low or shitty, like, oh, sorry, but like just not feeling cut off from your own creativity, feeling like too stressed or just getting that overwhelmed or anxious feeling. And just start to be aware of it. And the more fit you become, when I say fit in all the 10 bodies, the energy of all 10 bodies, there's another course that I do that teaches people about the 10 body system. But even the most, as you come into that understanding of all that you're wielding, it's very subtle sometimes how you can be leaking energy out and it be depleting you because it's such a habit that you're not even aware. It's like I said, the kale salad's a perfect example. I'm eating this because I believe that it's good for me, but you're depleted after you eat it, but you're not even aware because you're intellectually, it's like this intellectual bypass telling yourself this is good for me, so it's got to be good. But your body is like, hell no, I feel terrible. I always say, like, you might as well have just had the donut. That could have actually been the healthier choice if your soul was like calling you forth for the donut, like, I just want a donut. I always say it's little kids eat whatever they want. And they're not sitting there going, they're not at a pizza party going, oh no, I'm dying to have that pizza, but I just can't have the pizza. I can't do it. Or, oh, I can't believe I had that slice of pizza. They're just like, pizza party. And we were all like that. So it's just a remembrance of like, of course, our bodies are not going to choose to eat the pizza all the time because it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us on our greatest energy level. But, sometimes the soul just wants to take out Chinese food and sit in bed and watch Netflix. That's awesome. Is it putting you in the black or is it putting you in the red? It's only you and you. Only you and you. You're the only person that can know where's your red, where's your black.
That's a big part of my teaching too. I love that and kind of the simplicity of that breakdown, because we talk a lot about, making choices that feel good and, how eating one donut isn't going to ruin a diet. So have that conversation with yourself and try to figure out what is it that I actually want? What is going to fill my cup here? It might be the donut, in which case that's going to serve you a lot better than that salad that's going to feel punitive.
And it's interesting. And what I love about that, so I also have that as a prompt, and I'll add to that sentence. It's because here's how we could get really fun and super ninja about how we're wielding our energy. It's what would make me feel good versus what would make me feel good about myself. And very subtle, but the difference is sometimes what would make me feel good about myself is having the kale salad, because I know that the nutrient density of that kale is going to nourish me in a way that I cannot get from anything else right now. And let me tune in, even though my taste buds aren't totally down with it. What is it that my body is actually desiring, knowing that I'm holding the weight of this huge vision that I have for impacting the planet? Like, so I know that I need to take in these nutrients. And so when you're open to that kind of an inner conversation, the answer will come right through your intuitive wisdom. And your intuitive wisdom may be like, actually, there's a thing called spinach that you may like a lot better than the kale. So, oh my God, I just had a revelation. I'm going to try spinach instead. And that could be your new joint. That could be your new jam. And that being said, sometimes it's like, what would make me feel good about myself? Like, this is not like, I love one of my spiritual teachers called this spiritual chauvinism. And I feel like there was a lot of fitness chauvinism that was going on too. It's like, I'm a fitness professional and I eat the kale salad every day and I eat perfect, clean eating, clean eating, clean eating. Clean eating gave me such an aversion for so many years. And I personally hid behind it thinking like, oh my God, the baby and I gained weight and I only have a 2-pack instead of a 6-pack and I have to hide it. I'm so embarrassed because who's going to come to me as a fitness professional if I've got a tummy? Oh my God. And like I was destroying myself from the inside out and I kept gaining weight because I was so stressed about how I looked, realizing, what am I even doing? How can I feel really good about myself? And coming full circle, now, my body holds this soul and I'm running a lot of energy. I'm running a lot of spiritual current through my soul. And that doesn't mean that I shut down and create this spiritual chauvinism where I'm like, I'm perfect. I'm a total vegetarian and I don't drink alcohol. No, I'm like, yeah, tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo. And guess what? You know what would make me feel really good about myself is watching a movie with my family, ordering Chinese takeout and having a glass of rosé. And you know what? I don't have any guilt or shame around that. And I don't have to live by anyone else's rules. And even as I'm saying this, my cellular structure, I feel so free. I am literally radiating light. I feel so good to be alive. And you know what? That could change tomorrow. And that gets back to the 2-hour pulse, which is, that's what I'm planning. That's in my schedule. And that is great. And I hold space for that success plan in my schedule. And I reserve the right to change my mind.
Yeah, every 2 hours.
Because every 2 hours, it does anyway. So the 2-hour pulse also gives you so much nervous system relief and allows you to come into parasympathetic dominance, which is our natural human state of being.
Yeah.
Our parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for rest and relax, but it's also responsible for really supporting the endocrine function in regulating how we command emotional experience and how we command our glandular secretions. And that also has a lot to do with how our chakras are. So our chakras are these beautiful energy centers. And so how our chakras are spinning from crown to root and creating this very energetic, superhuman experience, which is just our natural state anyway. So now, instead of fighting time and our physiology, we literally settle into the natural flow of the way that the earth is moving and the natural flow and rhythm and pulse of our own physiology within. It's a very sensual, very beautiful relationship. When you have that interromantic experience with the cosmos, you just generate health from the inside out. And so moment to moment, you can then, your mind is so clear because it's coordinating left and right brain. It's always kind of squeezing on and activating your pituitary gland, which governs all your glands, which allows you to be in command of your emotions. But it's also where your pineal gland is, which is kind of getting that trigger, open you up to always see the creative possibilities in anything. Always be coming from a place of curiosity. And when you see that, your intuition is always pulling you forth in this beautiful pulse and rhythm with your destiny. So it's like in this moment right now, I really could use an orange. Interesting. I'm probably feeling like a little depleted in vitamin C. Now, was it on my nutrition plan to have an orange right now? No. Do I have an orange every day at 3 o'clock? Hell no. In fact, I don't know when I had an orange last time I had an orange. You know, it's not like, and that could change. I don't know. It's just literally living in this kind of window. So to wrap up, that was just one tool. I'll definitely share the entire kind of, I call them opportunity assignments, but this training around creating a 2-hour pulse. So what I could offer right now, again, is just start with this one assignment, which is do an energy balance sheet and really just see where you're being depleted. And notice those 5 or 6 things. You might want to run this over a couple of days where you're like, wow, that really sucks my energy. And so the next step is like, okay, can I A, remove those things completely, B, change them to a different time of day, or C, change my attitude about them. Right? So there's always something you can do. If it's something you cannot, I used to be like, I hate carpooling. I dread it. It's awful. Now it's funny to even say that, right? But I realized, why do I hate it? It's actually my greatest joy. It was my attitude around it because I was just running the tape of what I had heard around me. Everyone's complaining about carpooling, and we live in New York, and it's this, and it's crazy, and it's either in a car in traffic or on a smelly subway. And even that, I love using the subway as a great example because everyone complains about the subway, but you can also make it the most delightful, fun, adventurous experience. It's all about your attitude, right? And you choose that, and your attitude really creates your outer experience. So, so there are definitely things you can do, even if you cannot remove that thing from your schedule. And then you start to tap into these biorhythms and see, wow, you know, if I notice that I am more creative in the morning, how can I create and amplify that? And there are tools like alternate nostril breathing. So if you want to really start to open up and expand your, you know, let's say you've got to do a budget and you don't love that and you really want to do it, right? And you go through all the steps and you're like, okay, I'm here. And I don't even call it a budget anymore. I call that your energy flow plan too. But let's say you really want to tap into that kind of analytical side. Well, okay, so then you can literally do some right nostril breathing. Because if you're breathing through the right nostril, deeply inhale, deeply exhale, 2 minutes, right nostril breathing, it's going to open up and expand that left brain. Because you cross hemispheres, right, at your inside your nose. There's a big kind of portal here. And so again, that's what I mean when I say embodiment. Like you're using a very sophisticated technology within your own system to create massive benefit, physiological benefit, which then creates, you know, an entirely, again, you're living a very prosperous life, right? You know that your own breath can actually create more analytical mindedness versus more creative mindedness, and understanding, okay, I can get even better at this, and I can plan it at, hey, 4 o'clock, I'm kind of feeling numbers. Cool. And now I'm going to do alternate nostril breathing and really get into that. So just a few tools that you know, feel people could use. I mean, and you will feel it. And the more that you practice that, the better you become at it, just like if you were doing lunges. So yeah, so I'm happy to share that PDF, delivering some good, like kind of, like I said, some ninja tools that people could pick up and take with them right now. I love practical application.
That's great. And I will definitely, I'll put that in the show notes here. And I'll have a place to download it in the Mama Mecca. Which for anybody who's not a member, because you can join these not as a member, it's a free membership. So you just go on and sign up, and I'll have the link to that here too. And, I just think that this speaks so well to my audience because everything that you're saying is what we work on. I mean, all of that, giving yourself permission to do those things that you would feel guilty about, historically, and how that physiologically affects you. It's not just a matter of mindset and mindfulness for the sake of being more mindful. It affects your body in a very real way. And the way you talk about it, it's from such a different level. You've got this whole, universe connection, where I focus a little bit more just straight up mind-body connection, which you incorporate too. And so it's kind of a fun way to learn even more and a deeper dive into, what I'm talking about with my clients. And then, okay, and here, check out Dianne. She's going to really explain to you the science behind it. I go into the hormones, but, you've got this great approach that I think really speaks to my programs too. So anybody who's working with me can really utilize what you're offering. That's why it's so generous, because it fits so well into my teaching. So I think they'll really enjoy that. So I'm very excited for you to offer that.
All about what can we do to serve, and again, we all get to choose into the holy human experience, but those souls that are seeking a more expanded, exalted, existence, that's cool. Why the universe brought us together. Of course, it's an alignment. No question.
So where else, what's your website? What kind of coaching programs do you offer? What else can we learn from you? And where can people who listen to this find you?
Yeah, so my website is simply my name, DianneSykes.com. Super easy. I post a lot of great free content on my Facebook page, Dianne Sykes Fitness. So that's easy to find as well. Mm-hmm. And then training videos on YouTube constantly. This is what lights my soul up. If I'm not teaching and I'm not sharing what I experience, that's my dharma. And so what I'm doing right now, well, there are a number of ways to work with me. One of the programs I'm really excited about kicking off very shortly is I partnered up with a dear friend who is a beautiful singer. I mean, Grammy award winning, amazing talent. And we are going to be starting a coaching program for leaders and performers and athletes and anybody who's ever really experienced stage fright and they feel like it's blocking them. And now in this time and space, there are a lot of leaders that are used to doing some public speaking, but perhaps are experiencing a tremendous amount of stage fright about doing these kinds of things, Zoom. And so we're getting into how to overcome stage fright. We say that with a little tongue in cheek because overcome it is not really what we're doing, but we are literally allowing you to dissolve that fear that is keeping you from speaking your voice. So that's going to be kicking off soon. We're still wrapping up the details on that, but if you plug into my Facebook page, you're going to get information on that. And it's a group coaching experience. So it's kind of a good way to kind of get in. And it's like something to focus on. If this is something that you're interested in with regard to your physiology changing, this is great. And then I also am going to be, I actually have it right here. This is the beta of this is 22 years of my love and my life. So I finally created a journal, and I don't really call it a journal. This is actually basically like your ability to stay in rhythm that you can put in your purse. This is like my best friend. It is literally so much fun, and I never thought that I would ever share this because it's 20 years of me picking things from different experiences, different journals, nothing ever fit me. So I created my own, and I've been using it and iterating it for so long. And I never thought that anybody would ever want to be prompted because I never wanted to be prompted. I always wanted to have my own way of keeping track of my feelings, my thoughts, and it just never. So in here I have literally, so you can see energy flow plan and really talking about like, aligning with your 10 bodies, your lunar centers, your chakras, but also very pragmatic things like how your budget gets to look every month. And then, and this tracking, it's not a calendar month. This actually tracks from new moon to new moon. So there's a page in here that allows you to do a new moon ritual, which will kick you off. And we have the full moon that's happening on Thursday. So then I have a complete full moon ritual.
Cool.
And then each day we kind of, it's every day of the week where you're literally tracking. And like I said, see your energy level, you can rank, you can track your expenses, your income. So there's very pragmatic things, but it's also prompts where, you're looking at activities for the day. What energized me? What do I appreciate? What are my fears? What are my threats? What are my projections? So very deep questioning. And working with gene keys as well. So if you're contemplating a specific genetic expression, and I do a lot of work with the gene keys. So yeah, so I'm going to be putting this in probably a digital format first, and then having print versions. Again, we're iterating. We're going to have some like moon days cards and some trainings around that. But I'm so excited because it took one of my good friends to be like, why are you keeping that to yourself? She literally was like, you're so selfish. I was like, nobody wants this. It's like my personal, like, crazy mad scientist journal. And she was like, that's gold. Please give me that. And I was like, okay, this does get to be shared. So I'm very vulnerable around it. I'm feeling all the feels around it because it's literally like my heart in a book, but I'm super excited about it too. Good.
That's awesome. I think that your friend is right on point. The things that we are teaching, my whole program is based on what do I need? What did I need when I was going through my depression? What did I need when I was a new mom? And that's what I try to give my clients. So it's always, what do I need? And then, okay, here's a version for you. So
what do I love, right? Like, what do I love? I guess there are other people that would love it too. And if you don't, you don't. That's okay.
Exactly. There's plenty of people out there to follow. So you find the person that speaks to you, and I find people like you to learn from, and provide that to my community too. And that's the difference between us and Kayla Itzines.
And look at how we're living. What I just felt called to in this moment being excellent was when this all does shape up, and I know that I'm launching the I call it Rhythmic Leadership Journal. I can offer the Mama Mecca some sort of a fun, like a code or whatever, so that they can get like a nice package. And again, I don't know what that looks like yet, but whatever that is, I'm happy to offer that to your community because I'm sure that it'll serve.
Yes. Yeah. That'll go really well with what we talk about. So great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is perfect timing. Of course it is, because I have a client call at 3:00, which is delightful. Nice. Look at that. Boom. I love it. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Well, thank you so much for giving us so many golden gems of information.